Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We're in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Stephanie today. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. So let me just say a few words. If you are people who are listening in who are new to the podcast, Stephanie and I are meeting for the first time, and we're going to see if we can do a good bit of work together. So, Stephanie, if you can wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted with food and body, what would that be for you?
I think a sense of liberation and to be free of the thoughts that hold me back, either physically within my body or in general with a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, so a sense of freedom, a sense of no limits. And what would that look like for you in terms of, exactly what you would be doing? Like, how would your day be different?
I think the day itself wouldn't look much differently, as I've been on a health and wellbeing journey for a number of years now, but it's more around the thoughts within myself and what I can achieve, and the fears that are linked to actually managing my own health, well-being and weight issues, which have dominated most of my life, without the feeling that maybe I can't do this alone. I've got to use something else. I'm distracted looking at lots of different types of health information and what I should be doing for the best. And just trying to have that sense of control within myself, that I'm fully self-accepting and fully self-loving of me. And, I can accept that maybe weight fluctuates without actually beating myself up. And I know what is a healthy medium average for my body, which is something I've never learned as yet. And I'm quite content with that within myself.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just noticing, so you're mentioning weight and you're talking about, health. So other than weight, if we took weight off the table for a minute, how's your health?
Yeah, it's relatively okay. I'm quite active. I'm not as energetic as previous years. Being 47 now, I know the hormones are starting to change. I'm noticing that I didn't feel as fit when I'm gearing up for a race for life. So I was quite breathless and quite tired, and different forms of exercise I don't feel able to do as much anymore, like heavy cardio. So I tend to stick to yoga and stretching. But I have noticed in myself, like, muscle tone is depleting. So I look at the changes and it affects how I feel. So when I think of overall health, it always then comes back to how I feel in myself, no matter whether I feel relatively healthy or not.
Mm-hmm. So you said you've been dealing with weight issues for a long time. How long?
I've been yo-yo dieting in slimming clubs since I was a teenager, so not dissimilar to a lot of women that you talk to. That starts in early years. So really, I've been, subject to a lot of conditioning, external forces, society norms and expectations, and family patterns of dieting within slimming clubs. So dieting for a while, maintaining for a while, putting up weight on, not a huge amount, say 1 or 2 stone, and then going back on the bandwagon of the slimming clubs again. So I made a conscious decision last year to come away from slimming clubs and focus really on my health and well-being, more from a mindset point of view, which I've explored in great detail with Brené Brown, Gifts of Imperfection, and Kristin Neff around self-compassion, really fantastic tools that I've needed for myself. And in the meantime, I've come away from weighing myself, eat relatively healthy, And then I weighed myself. I made the mistake of weighing myself last week, and I think I put a stone on in the last year. So that then triggers me to think, can I do this on my own? And what do I need to do to overcome this kind of conditioned fear within me around weight gain?
Mm-hmm. That's $1 billion question. What can I do to overcome the conditioning of the fear of weight gain?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there's probably lots of good answers to that question. And I actually think it's an important question. I'm glad you're asking it, because we're conditioned from a very young age. You started when you were young. So you started looking at your weight when you were young, and you didn't come out of the womb thinking that or believing that. That's how you've been educated. That's how you've been conditioned by the world. That's what you've been taught by the world. So when we're constantly getting those messages, it's not easy to undo those messages. It just isn't, because it's been part of our upbringing since we were young, and since probably even before we can remember, that we're being asked to be somebody else in order to be lovable and acceptable to others around us. So you got to look different to be lovable and acceptable to all the other people. And then at some point we think, oh my goodness, I have to be looking different to be lovable and acceptable to me. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where the action is. We can't control what other people think.
Yeah, and that's something that I've really come on a journey with, recognizing that seeking of validation and external influences actually validating that I was okay as I was, which I never ever got that feedback. And then the journey's taken me on to me now knowing I am enough. I am loved and I am lovable, and I've got those qualities about me that are unique. However, trying to uncondition myself around the weight issues when I've done it for so long, it's hard, as you say, and the scales are a trigger. So I try to stay away from them, but then it upsets me when it still makes me feel in a certain way, like it's got a certain power over me.
Yes. So when you feel like you get triggered, I'm interested. Well, let me take a step back. Who do you imagine? Is there anybody out there that when you think of, if you lost X amount of weight and you weigh exactly what you want to weigh, do you ever think to yourself, oh, this person or these people or this group of people will accept and love me more? Like, who would approve of you more out there?
Not anymore. And that's because of the intense self-development work I've done on myself in the last year. But if you would have asked me that 2 years ago, I might have said family members, friends, husband, and external people in society would appreciate and respect and find attractive somebody who was like size 10 to 12. And that would have been my perception back then. I don't think that anymore, but I still don't know what an ideal frame is for me. I know we're all unique, and I look around and I see everybody is unique, but I'm still trying to find, well, where do I kind of balance out? Because if I don't look after my health, I'm just putting more weight on each year.
Okay. So you said if you don't look after your health, you just end up putting more and more weight on each year. Tell me specifically what that looks like for you. How do you think the weight comes on?
I think it would be mindless eating instead of mindful eating. I work at home a lot these days, and it is a conscious effort to have an exercise routine and a self-care routine that is easy to stick to. My husband works shifts, so one week is different to the next week. I have a young daughter, so a lot of things work around her. And then if there's a lot of sugary things or snacks in the house, I can snack on those maybe through the day or in the evening times, mindlessly. And then it used to be, but not so much anymore, if when I was on diets, kind of go a bit crazy at the weekends and overconsume, which I understand why that is. That doesn't happen as much anymore. And maybe late night snacking as well, which I've cut back now. So that's probably it, really.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, it sounds like you've done a lot of great work on yourself, and you've hit certain wonderful targets in your life in terms of, okay, so now I'm less concerned or unconcerned even what other people think, or what I'm imagining they're thinking, or how I think they're judging me.
Yeah,
and,
that's gone.
Yes. So, and how long have you been married?
Since 2009. So yeah.
All right. How does your husband feel about your body?
It doesn't verbalize much. So
What do you think?
it's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly. Maybe he hasn't got an opinion. Most men that I know prefer a slimmer version and a younger looking version, in my opinion, but I may be wrong.
So you don't really know because he doesn't say?
No.
And you're not quite sure?
No.
You ever thought of asking him?
To be honest, he can't do right for doing wrong. I mean, he used to try and support me when I was going to the slimming clubs, asking how I got on. And I got to the stage where I said, just don't ask me the question, because it just becomes a trigger of well, you mustn't like me the way I am, because asking me whether I've lost weight. So it becomes a bit of a vicious circle. So I think he tries to stay silent.
Yes. I could imagine that scenario, because in your mind, understandably, the situation is more complex. In his mind, he just wants you to be happy. Yeah. So if you're choosing to go to the slimming club, and the point of going to the slimming club is to get slimmer, then the logical masculine mind says, okay, are you getting slimmer?
Yeah, he actually can't win. He can't win.
Yeah. So.
And it's not actually even about what he thinks. I know the issue is within me. It's inside, because we've been through quite a lot, and I think no matter what size I would be, we've got quite a strong marriage and a strong future and goals that we share together. So I do know the issue is within me from the conditioning I've had for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. Are your parents still alive?
Yeah.
How old is your mom?
She's 70.
How's her relationship with her weight?
She's had the same issues for me as me, so I've followed in her footsteps of the slimming clubs. She's come away from them now since she started coming to my wellbeing group that I set up. So I think she's listening to the same messages now, that actually it can be a bit more damaging than helpful if it's not approached in the right way. Mm-hmm. So she tries to be as active and as healthy as she can, but I know she struggles with the weight.
Mm-hmm. How old is your daughter?
She's 8.
She's 8, okay. If she came to you and said, Mommy, I'm not happy with my weight. I'm not happy with how I look. Yeah. I don't like this. I want to go to a slimming club. What would you say to her?
That would just be a big red flag and a trigger for me. And actually, it's so funny because I had this conversation with my own mum when I was working through this particular time. And I don't resent her anymore at all. for what we did in the younger years. But she actually asked me that question. So what would you do if your child was overweight and, you know, wanted that support? And I was quite defensive, and I said, well, A, I didn't ask for the help. And B, I think what I would do is try and role model what a healthy lifestyle looks like, and say to her, you're perfectly fine as you are, exactly as you are. But if you want to improve your health, your well-being and your fitness, I can help to support you with that.
Mm-hmm. I love that wisdom.
That's what I'd say to her.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because you love her and you care about her and you want the best for her.
Mhm.
Does that advice work for you?
Well, I've never had anyone say that to me, so I have to, like, this is the thing, isn't it? In my journey, it's practicing saying that to myself over and over and over again, you know, and until it becomes a belief. So I do know that, and I journal every day, and I've got lots and lots of notes that I make. And as I said, I've got a well-being group where we talk about it, discuss it with friends. It's just hard when it's been, I'm 47 now. I suppose I've been on that dieting journey since 15, 16.
Yes.
So to come away from it for 1 year, it's quite it's quite brave for me to do that in one way, but it's also quite a scary thing to do it on my own, and then get this trigger of weight gain and think, right, okay, I'm at the cusp, which way do I go?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm glad we're having this conversation at this time, and I'm glad you used the term, you're sort of at a cusp, because I think it's true for you. Like now is a time to have a shift in perception. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to get better overnight. Here's the thing that I want to counsel you about being cautious about. And that is having the goal called, I fully love and accept my body. And I just wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I'm just like, this is great. And then I'm taking great care of myself, and I'm doing healthy habits. And that's what I do. And I'm not doing the unhealthy ones, i.e. overeating or mindlessly eating or eating unmindfully. I would love to see you take that pressure off yourself and be more of an imperfect human being. Because we don't necessarily fully love and accept unconditionally 100% most anything and everything, maybe your child. So that's why that's a good sort of reference point to really see what that means. But other than that, we're very human. You love your husband loves you, and there's things about each other that, you wish you could probably change. You wish it was a little different, but that doesn't get in the way. You don't have to do all this work necessarily and say to yourself, I need to accept my husband 100% in all ways, every way. Like, no, you know what you got. You know what you're dealing with. And you also know where the foundation is. So there's a foundation there, and the foundation that you have with him just overcomes, it supersedes everything else.
Yeah.
So I think in part what you're looking for is a foundation with yourself, but the foundation isn't, I've created all these great healthy habits and I don't deviate and I unconditionally love and accept myself. Sure, that's a great goal. But then every time you're not unconditionally loving and accepting yourself, you think, well, I'm not good enough here. I'm not getting where I want to go, or I got to work harder. And I really am happy that you work on yourself. I think that's a constant good practice as a human being to just become our best self. So that takes some work.
Mhm.
Paradoxically, at the same time, it takes a lot of letting go.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And it's the letting go part that I'm most interested in for you,
Mhm.
as opposed to the doing work on myself part.
Okay.
So you're going to still do work on yourself, but I want to see you balance that out of having times where you can just be in the practice called, and now this body is enough.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is you're trying to find your foundation.
Mhm.
Tell me again, you said 46 or 47?
47.
Okay, so at age 47, you're trying to find your foundation. Great age to find that,
Mhm.
because that the late 40s, hitting 50, I think is a very powerful transition time for a woman or a man. We're stepping into our royal archetype. You're stepping into your queen, your womanhood, your
Yeah.
sovereignty,
Mhm.
your ownership of your life and your body like never before. And part of being a queen means you sit on your throne and you're clear about what your value is.
Yeah.
Your value is who you are. Your value is the love that you have to give. Your value is you're a great mother. Your value is you're a great partner. Your value is you're a good friend. Your value is how you care and love and treat people and the gifts you give to your world. That's your value.
Mhm.
My guess is nobody really, other than you, nobody really cares about your weight.
No.
Nobody really cares. Nobody's staying up at night. If I can have a conversation with your husband, my guess is when I would say to him, what do you want for Stephanie? He would say, I just want her to be happy.
Yeah.
He just wants you to show up and go, husband, here I am. I'm all happy.
Yeah.
Feel good about myself. He'd be very happy.
To be a happy wife, not a nagging wife.
Certainly not nagging against yourself. So my guess is that's what he wants for you. And I think at this stage, the work to do, if you're going to do actual work on getting to the place of more self-acceptance and a healthier relationship with your body, that happens by you doing things that help you be in your body in a way that makes you happy to be here. So I get just a little concerned with your relationship with the word health.
Mm.
There's a little concern. Here's what I mean. Of course, we all want to be healthy. I want to be healthy. But when I say healthy and anybody else says healthy, everybody thinks different things, because some people think healthy means you eat a vegetarian diet. Some people think healthy means you eat a lot of meat. Some people think healthy means you're like running, for 6 miles a day. Some people think healthy means you eat a certain way, you exercise a certain way, you have a certain weight, you do certain practices. I know you definitely include a healthy attitude. You've talked about that. You mentioned that. And I think there's a part of your brain that thinks, if I have more weight, I'm less healthy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Also factually, I'm thinking that, well, that's what we're told, isn't it? My
Yep.
BMI, even 2 stone lighter, told me I was overweight. So
Yes. So BMI is an antiquated measure of
yeah.
anything useful. So it does us no good. It's just an ancient, outdated method to assess anything. I'm going to just give you like in less than 30 seconds, tell you that the science is very ambiguous about health and weight. Here's the reality. The reason why it's ambiguous is because in its extremes, too much weight or too little weight in its extremes are going to cause health issues. But there's a huge middle ground. Whereas it turns out when you actually dig into the research, people who are quote unquote overweight or who quote unquote don't have a good BMI, they're healthy.
Yeah.
And they live as long and they live as healthy as their slender counterparts. So, my parents had fine weight and, for them, and they were relatively satisfied, and they both died before they hit 60 of cancer. So you can have like great weight and that doesn't guarantee you great health. So all I'm saying is that there's a lot of weight bias in science that clouds our minds, because science, like all humans, science is just composed of a group of human beings. We, the collective we have a lot of weight hate. We have a lot of judgment around weight, and it clouds our actual understanding of what the issues are really that's going on. So to me, if you want to be healthy, you do what you said that you would tell your daughter. I can help you be healthy by focusing on healthy habits, by focusing on healthy things to do and healthy ways of thinking and being in the world.
Yeah.
That's what we know brings health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And that's definitely what I've seen in the last year. But I get pulled, I get pulled and distracted. I've even just had a new book delivered to me today by Dr. Mark Hyman, the blood sugar detox.
Yes.
So, it's kind of like I get pulled and distracted into this way of thinking, and messages from professionals and about health and well-being, and then I attach to it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of it is contradictory, and you can be reading books for the rest of your life. I'm glad you do. And it's time to, I think, give your brain a little bit of relaxation, not have to figure anything out, and start to live in your body without trying to fix anything. And give yourself that opportunity to have that experience. The experience called, just like you said to your daughter, or like you would say to your daughter if she came to you, say, hey, it's all good. Big hug. Love this body. No issues, no problems. And you want to do healthy things? Great. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's you learning to do something that you didn't have the opportunity to learn in the past, which was to just be a person who lives in her body and goes about her business without trying to change anything to please anybody, including yourself.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God, but if I do that, I'm going to gain weight. And okay, let's see. Let's learn to trust yourself. Of course, you know that you want to be present when you eat. Great, that's a practice. But your life doesn't depend on it. Here you are, you're relatively healthy. I asked you, you told me you're a relatively healthy person. Congratulations, you're 47 and you're relatively healthy. So clearly you've been doing something right because you're relatively healthy. And all the little challenges you described to me around your health is typical of any person who's in their 40s or their late 40s. Yeah, I don't have as much energy. I don't have as much muscle tone. I'm not as great an exerciser as I used to be. Like, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
This is what happens to everybody. So there's nothing wrong with you. So I think your next step here, I think the inflection point is stop trying to fix anything. Nothing is broken. There's nothing to fix. You're bettering yourself. Yeah. We're all bettering ourselves. We're all learning. We're lifelong learners. Just because your daughter doesn't know how to drive a car doesn't mean she's broken. Hasn't learned it yet. Just because she doesn't know how to speak French doesn't mean she's broken. She hasn't learned it yet. She might not be good at math. Well, you haven't learned it yet.
Yeah. I think I heard that phrase as well, that it's okay. You know, you can fully accept yourself, but you can still want to improve. So that's stuck in my head, is that, you know, this journey that I'm on. Yeah, I can totally accept myself as I am, but is there a need then? Do I need to improve something? And I think I've attached to that, really, that I'm not just accepting or just being. I'm still on a quest to improve.
Yes. So it's a little bit of a paradox because we're always on a quest to improve, but part of that quest to improve is being able to sit back and go,
Mm. That's part of it, yeah.
yeah, because we got to sleep at night. So you're not doing self-improvement at night. And it's good to have times during the day when you're not doing self-improvement, you're just doing self.
Mm.
You're just being you, you're being a mother, you're being a friend, you're being a wife, you're being a partner,
Mm.
you're being the person that does your work and relates with your coworkers, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in those moments, there's nothing to fix because there's nothing wrong,
Yeah.
because you're just learning and growing. So that's the next perceptual shift, is putting it into practice of, I'm having times during the day when I'm recognizing it's just time to be me.
Yeah.
I think what happens is there's a stress that builds up for you because you think you have to get to a certain place in yourself.
Or I'm out of control in some area that needs kind of reining in or something.
Exactly. Because something bad is going to happen, and the bad thing is I'm going to gain more weight. So that's why weighing yourself is a trigger, because the big bad boogeyman that you can't really see is you're going to gain weight. That's the boogeyman. That's the big fear. So if you get on the scale and you gain weight, see, my fear came true, and I didn't worry enough. I didn't do enough things.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I've really not focused on my weight at all this year, but it kind of perpetuated that fear where I thought, I'll just see. I was like, as you say, oh, well, there you go then. Not just a couple of pounds, but a whole stone.
Yes. So that, to me, let's use that as good material for learning the lesson called time to drop into even more self-connection and self-trust. It's learning to, your foundation means being able to feel at home in your body. Feeling at home in your body means trusting your body, like your body has gotten you this far. You have love in your life. You're a mom. You have enough money. You're surviving. There's good things happening for you. So according to your track record, good things happen. We can assume good things will continue to happen. And good things continuing to happen are not dependent on you eating a certain way, looking a certain way, weighing a certain way. Yes, you have your preference. Yeah, you want to eat thoughtfully, for sure. But your life doesn't depend on it. Your survival doesn't depend on it. Your lovability doesn't depend on it. So instead of focusing on fixing anything, I think the focus, it would be great to focus on just literally feeling at home in your body.
Yeah.
And every day doing something, even for 5 minutes, that helps you feel, I'm at home in my body. It could just mean sitting on the couch and taking some deep breaths for a few minutes and playing some music and just say, this is me sitting here being in my body. I don't have to change anything. Giving your body the signal, you don't have to be different. Because there's this part of you that's active almost 24 hours a day, even when you're sleeping, that's something's got to be different. That something's got to be different. Something's got to be different causes a lot of stress.
Yeah.
When we have excess stress, we're going to try to relieve that stress. How do we try to relieve that stress? One of the most common ways is to eat.
Mm.
So a lot of times, if you find yourself turning to food when you wish you weren't, it's often to escape your body, to escape emotions, to escape something that's uncomfortable. What's uncomfortable is you're not feeling good enough. You don't really love and accept yourself. You can't relax for a moment. Your body can't relax because your body's been getting the message. Understandably, it's been programmed into you, the message like, you got to change.
Yeah. It's not enough just to be.
So it's learning how, just to be in this body. And even if this was a reality TV show and if I was getting $10 million to help you lose weight, like sustainably long term, not just like putting you on like a fast, what I would do to win $10 million is I would have you spend 5 or 6 months just focusing on embodying, just focusing on being in your body and not trying to change anything.
Right. Yeah.
And loving on your body and doing things that make your body feel good, taking a walk, doing some breathing, not doing anything for your body that is indicative of weight loss. Oh, I got to take this exercise class because it's going to make me fit.
Mm-hmm.
No, take a class if it feels like it works for your body.
Yeah.
And I know you said you started doing that more,
Mm.
But even when you're doing any kind of yoga, anything, the purpose is not to change your body.
Yeah.
The purpose is to be in it.
Mm.
To go, this is me being in my body.
Mm.
That's where transformation happens, when you land in your body.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had a mini realization not long ago that obviously if we suffer with a lot of self-critical thoughts, not as much anymore, but I have done. And, I had the realization that, if you were to talk that way again to a child, it's a form of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So actually to speak nicely about the body that I've got and appreciate the body that I've got and actually give it some form of positive praise is something that I need to do. And that was a realization I came to, but it's the implementation of it. It's like the two sides kind of pulling.
Yes.
On each side. Yeah.
So the implementation of it, it's a practice. It's not a perfect. And it means setting aside some time every day to do something where you're being in your body in a way that gives you pleasure, that makes you feel good, where you're saying to yourself, this is my moment to love and enjoy this body and be in this body. And you know what, body? You don't have to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you're giving yourself the signal, the message, the love that you didn't get when you were young. Because there's a part of you that's still that teenager that got the message, like, this body's not good enough. We got to change it.
Mm.
So that it's like a tape that plays in the mind. Got to change this. You got to change this. You got to change this. And now that's graduated a little bit. Okay, well, you got to change your health. You got to change these habits. You got to change this. And yeah, of course, we do want to get better. We do want to educate ourselves, but we have to look at what's driving those messages.
Yeah.
For you, oftentimes what's driving those messages are, you're not good enough.
Mm.
And that's why I'm saying it's useful to have times where you can just begin to be in your body and give it a signal. You don't have to do anything different, body.
Yeah.
Even if you do that lying in bed at night, put your hands on your belly and close your eyes and just give your body some love and say, you don't have to change. You don't have to be any different.
Yeah.
15 years from now, you're going to wish that you might wish that you looked as young as you do today.
I know. That's the thing, isn't it? You look back at photographs and I think, why was I even worried?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And
So,
that'll keep happening, yeah.
and that's a great reminder to say, like, now's the time.
Yeah, I appreciate now what I've got and the health that I have got.
Yes. That's how an adult thinks. That's how a queen thinks. That's how a parent thinks. That's the advice you would be giving to your daughter. You'd want her to love and appreciate what she has right now, because this is you and it's totally lovable.
Mhm.
So you're being a good mother to yourself.
Yeah. And a role model in turn, which is the ultimate aim as well.
Yes.
Mhm. We'll break the cycles if we keep on.
Yeah. And it's being gentle with yourself too. It's also saying, I don't do this perfectly, and I don't exactly have this right, but it's okay. It's you don't have to be perfect at this.
No.
And yeah, and even to be careful, because I can be a stickler about language. You're not looking to break a cycle necessarily, because that's a little aggressive. I understand that, but for you, I want to hear less aggressive language. You're not looking to break a cycle. You're looking to learn a new way of being in your body and loving your body. Very different.
Yeah.
I'm looking to break a cycle. I'm in a fight. I got a hammer. I'm trying to break something. So there's a struggle that's inherent in that. If you're learning to be in your body in a new and more gentle and more compassionate way, ooh, that sounds a lot easier. Sounds a lot more inviting. So it's noticing when you start to struggle and catching yourself and learning to say, there's nothing to struggle about here. If your daughter said to you, Mommy, I'm struggling today because I don't like my body, whatever you do, you would love her. You would love on her. You would say loving things to her. You wouldn't say, oh, okay, great. What do we need to do to help break this cycle and make you love your body? Do you want to lose weight? That'll make you love your body. Okay, let's put you on a diet. You want to lose weight? Let's make you run around the track. No, you're not going to say that to her. You're going to help her love herself as she is right now. So that's always the place you return to. Pretend that you're your own daughter. And that you're 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. What would you say to you? What would the mother in you say to the little girl in you? What's a takeaway for you from this conversation, Stephanie, that feels useful for you?
That I'm right to question where I'm at right now. I'm recognizing the triggers that I've noticed, I'm aware of, and it's to continue on the same path, but with more of a focus on self-love and being in my body and accepting my body right now. So yeah, that was really useful. Thank you.
What a good thing. I just want to, applaud you for all the work that you've done on yourself and the effort that you've put in, and you've come a long way. You really have. And I think it's helpful to celebrate that and to really acknowledge for yourself, like, wow, I've done some good work on me, and I've turned to some good resources, and I've reached a good place. Yeah, I'm not in the ideal place that I want to be, but let's let go of the ideals and be able to celebrate some of the small and not so small successes and now start to relax a little bit.
Yeah. Let
Into
go
that
of trying
sense.
to fix things as well. That'd be another takeaway.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing ever more to fix because nothing's broken.
Mhm.
There's nothing broken. You got to remember that there's nothing defective. There's nothing broken. It's not like, oh, if I can just fix this one thing, then it's all going to come into play. So no, we're always working on ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're not broken. We're just growing.
Mhm.
Because if I think I'm broken, there's a constant sense of sourness. There's a constant sense of I'm not good enough. There's a constant sense of, oh, I'm just a little defective. I have to find this answer. Whereas if I'm just learning and growing, I could stand a little taller. I could feel better about myself. I could be in my body
Mhm.
because I'm learning and growing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Stephanie, thanks for a great conversation. Thanks for being so real and open and honest. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Lovely to meet you. Thanks, Mark.
I appreciate you. And take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care, and remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.